at Altina Drinks, what we've done is created zero proof craft cocktails. So that is cocktails without the alcohol. And we want to do that because we want to shake up the Australian drinking culture.
When we ask people, so why do you drink? Why do you hold onto a glass? A lot of responses have been actually, I don't even know why I have a glass in my hand. Like, I just picked one up because it was there. And I think they're like, well, actually, if I got this alternative, I would drink something else.
So the social aspect is a huge part of it, and a huge part of why we started, in fact. And we want to just enable people to be able to still be social and have a good time, really feel included in the event or the party, or even at home if you're having a special dinner. And we want to make people feel like they have an option that is special, it's delicious, that's something a little bit different. And I guess lead to that culture change that we're ultimately trying to affect. And then for us, it's really important that we have amazing presentation. So it's all part of that experience. And so we then work on things like how do we serve the drink? What do we garnish it with? How can we get people to really interact with the story a little bit more, and also stop and think about what they're drinking a little bit more. So from the business perspective, if you look around at the market, there's not a lot in the alcohol-free space. There's really no dedicated non-alcoholic drinks that give you that same sense of occasion, that have that same amount of care put into them as something like a beautifully curated wine list, for example, or a beautiful cocktail list. And that's the real market opportunity that we're seeing there. At the moment, the conversation about alcohol-free drinking is really starting to take off. It's getting quite a bit of media attention, and people are becoming a lot more conscious of the customer experience. And I think that's really going to drive a lot of the growth in that sector, and we really want to be a part of that conversation and be a part of the growth in that alcohol-free sector. So there was a lot of challenges in the production. Generally, alcohol is really great at extracting flavours from things, and that's why you have such a wide range of different alcoholic beverages, right? We really spent a lot of time understanding the different raw ingredients and which methods we can use to best extract out those flavours. The other one that I would mention would actually be starting as a social enterprise. So when Alan and I first had this idea, I mentioned before, we really wanted to do something that had an impact on the community. And so we set ourselves up as a social enterprise because for a social enterprise, the mission is the North Star, the guiding principle. And that's what helps you sort of navigate through both the business and the impact model. And it has been quite a challenge to understand and, I guess, marry up those two. You've got the business model and the impact model. We've been going through the Millhouse Social Enterprise Accelerator, and that's really helped us to understand different ways that you can exist as a social enterprise, what that impact strategy and narrative can look like, and how you can make that work together with business. Where we are now, we're really happy with. So we're going to build our brand as that vehicle for change. And so we have had a really good response. So we bring our products along to taste, and they sort of go, I've never tasted anything like this before, but I love it.
Obviously people are like, oh my God, finally there is something for me to drink, either because of health issues, religious issues, just a choice. People are, I just don't like the taste of alcohol. For them, it was great. They're like, finally, something that's sophisticated, that's complex, that they can drink while their mates are drinking something else. I think nowadays, workplaces in particular are more conscious of actually their drinking habit and just well-being, general well-being. So most of the times we've actually had really receptive. They actually would be like, tell me more about it.
And that's been the real spirit of Canberra. When we talk to people, they say, oh yeah, this is great. Let's see how we can come and work together.
Mental illness education, ACT, They're an advocacy organisation for mental health, to educate for workplaces, but they have an alcohol-free zone, like in the workplace, so no alcohol. They just had their Christmas party and they're just used to lemon lime bitters, mocktails or juices, and they said to me, we're over the sugar coma concept. Can you please bring out Altina pop-up bar so my staff, my volunteers and families can actually enjoy something, enjoy the Christmas festive social element of it without having a sugar coma, and that's what we did. And it's been fantastic. We also made great inroads with the Australian Institute of Company Directors. So they are a membership organisation for directors and governance. And I spoke to them and it resonated really well with them because culture starts from the top. For a cohort like that, you can't just serve them soft drinks. Right? You need to serve them something more sophisticated, complex, and a great experience. And voila, we said Altina drinks. Originally, they were going to have our pop-up bar service along with like a wine service, because they said we still want to give people the option if they want to drink wine. But the day before the event, they called me up and said, actually, we've decided to make it completely alcohol-free because we believe that you could still have a really great, engaging conversation without alcohol. This beautiful forest berry, we actually sourced it from Bungendore, and it's actually a lady who's just in her backyard. So instead of going to Sydney and sourcing big places, we actually go on to smaller individuals or organisations starting up to build this kind of supply chain and really sourcing it from them instead.
So we've definitely approached places in Canberra, particularly looking at restaurants at the moment and seeing how we can help them to create a more inclusive drinks menu, and that being incorporating our products.
Yeah, definitely find a plus one. Let it be a life partner or someone that both your vision align together. It's better to have two people than just you on your own, because there's going to be a lot of tough nights. You need a shoulder to cry on, or just bouncing ideas. Whoever you find, you just got to be really clear on day one. What is that vision? Because I think we've spoken to other entrepreneurs, and fallout starts to happen when you have an idea, but you haven't crystallized on what that vision is.
Yeah. So at the start we said our mission is to shake up the Aussie drinking culture. So culture change is not something that happens overnight. You don't just flick a switch and boom, it's all changed. And so that's really what we're focusing on doing through both the business side and the impact side. So for us that means the more people who can have access to our product, the more of an impact we're having. It's around how do we get our drinks as accessible as possible, first within Canberra and then within Australia and then beyond. And then how do we make sure that as we're doing that, we are still able to have those conversations about mindful drinking and able to impact that discussion within the community.
1 Year Vision is really in Canberra. When you go to a bar and restaurant, we'd like to think you'd know about us. You'd be like, oh, is Altina on this menu? It's on this drinks menu. And more importantly, in our 5 year mark, when you go for your food dietary requirement, when you have a food dietary requirement, you say you could be gluten-free, you could be lactose-free, you can do all kinds of dietary requirements. People accept that. But why can't you accept that for drinks? Why can't you say, I actually don't drink alcohol and I want something sophisticated? Thank you very much. Things might evolve. We might be exporting overseas in 5 years' time, who knows? But one thing's for sure, we want to be known across Australia by the time 5 years comes around.